Hey guys, so in previous videos we've gone all the way around the console. We've talked about my custom panel and we've talked about every panel and the parts that I've gotten so far, and it's pretty exciting. It's still very cold and wet in Vancouver, so not quite time to start building, but we're getting there, and I'm really excited to get to that stage so much. I'm starting to look at my 3D files to make sure that everything's looking good, that it's gonna cut out just fine. I'm also starting to finalize a few things on the panels themselves because those things will be cut, including all the little windows, so I don't have to hand do them as I go, because that way they'll be a little more perfect, I guess. So hopefully less room for error as well, and especially as I start gearing up to do the laser cut pieces and everything like that. So I have a lot of work to do as far as the actual production, but I still got at least another month, half, 2 months to go before that's ready. But in the interim, I have been collecting pieces and I do have some part updates, so I thought I'd just quickly run through some of those that I've got. I'm also waiting on a package from the UK, which I'll probably get in the next 2 weeks, that I'm really looking forward to also sharing some pieces that were people let me know that they had or that they saw based on my videos and have agreed to sell them to me. So I am over the moon. I'm really excited, especially with one piece, those faders that I talked about previously on the Helm panel. I have one on its way to me, so I can't wait. That is apparently about a week away, so yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to sharing what it is, as well as the creation from there. But anyway, I just want to quickly go through some of the pieces I found, because as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, as I was going through the videos and showing what parts I had, and some parts I've had for years and years, and then comparing it to the close-up fit pictures. Some pictures I have that are new, actually. This is the high-resolution images and whatnot. They're actually newer to me now than when I had the first sets of videos that I was making. And that's what happens. You meet people who give photos and who either worked on the show or knew someone who worked on the show, or just found better detective skills than I did at the time, found them otherwise. But also, again, the studio tours was a big help for some of these pictures. So yeah, some things were brought to light on things that I would have missed back then. So a few parts, as I was editing these videos, I went, nuts, this piece that I have isn't as accurate as I thought it was. So I have been doing some replacement hunting as well. So that means some of the parts that I have, again, will be available for sale one way or the other. They'll either go up on eBay, Instagram, Facebook, or available. You can't sell on YouTube, so I'll have links when that time comes of all my bonus parts, because there's even a couple parts that I just talked about in a previous video that I'm now discovered the one I was going to copy. So that being said, I'm really excited to share these with you. Some things I've been looking for a while. So first up, I want to talk about the red push button. This was pretty interesting because one thing that's always bothered me about everything I could find didn't have a base on it. Everything was like, it had the button that you could push, it had like almost a proper look to it, but it just didn't have a base. And it eluded me for a while until recently I just happened to come across these Allen Bradley bases. So as you're looking here, especially in the close-ups that you'll see hopefully right at this moment in time, is that it's really close. It's got everything from the the threaded shaft with the indentations or the missing threaded pieces, and it does have little feet on it. However, I easily ground those off. I think these are it. I think these are definitely the ones. Now, the one thing you're seeing is that it does have some text on it. So my thought process, it's either these, or it's another brand that are very similar that had a smooth face and then the beveled piece that screws on top. Now these ones, Allen Bradley, I have been trying to see if there is one that's just a nice bevel, and they do have them, but there's different units. Now this unit here looks a lot like the one that's in the pictures, and I bought it thinking I would be able to take this and take this off and just screw it on here, being that they're threaded. Two problems with that. One is it's literally, like it wouldn't fit. This is the same width as this, and this doesn't come off. So bonus parts for me, expensive bonus parts. So I may end up selling these to recoup my loss, unfortunately. But these are really close. So they're close enough that I'm happy with them, and I'm going to either continue to look for the piece that screws on top, or I'm going to 3D print it and then chrome paint it, just because I think it's good enough. I don't mind the text either, because it does make it like a part that's kind of unique. And again, this is my console. It's going to be as close as I can to the Smith Capaldi, but Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. This was a random find. It was an accidental find. And I'm really looking forward to showing where this launched off to next. One thing that's really interesting is once I find out a brand name or a name of a company that has parts that they ended up using on the TARDIS, I do tend to go look at their catalog to see if there's anything else that they have made that is similar to that. Because oftentimes, especially Bob's Bits or anywhere that they get these parts, they will actually get a bunch, like a panel, and take all the pieces off of it, or and it's a sale or whatever they get all these pieces from. Oftentimes, they're from the same thing. So I looked up Allen Bradley to see what they had, and one thing they had were these. Now, hopefully in the close-ups here, you'll be able to see that on the mechanical panel, there are 2 of these, and I think these are them. I think you got the rings in the middle, and you have the overall look to them. So these are pretty cool. I think these are them. They do have a bearing ring around them that I haven't fully identified yet, and I haven't decided if I'm gonna just print them or not because I can't quite find that size. I did recently find thrust bearings that look like they're the right size that I'm getting sent to me from China. So we'll see if I use those in those places that they were in on this build, but I haven't found those collar ones that I quite like yet. But I think these are those lights. I'm really excited about this because it looks pretty close. Now, another part on that particular panel does have a red one that's a similar shape, but more rounded, but I did find a red version of those that I think will also work for the build, for now, at least until I find a replacement. Now, if you were looking, you probably noticed that one of these is, you know, a little bit more used, a little more damaged. I'm totally fine with that. Not what I was expecting to get from the vendor, but at the same time, this build is gonna be kind of dirty. I kind of like that it's got a little bit of damage. As long as it doesn't affect the actual function of the part or become a worse problem, I'm totally happy with it. So I'm really excited. This is really cool. So it's too bad I can't find the mount for it at this point, but maybe I will, or maybe I won't even worry about it and they'll just be mounted on to the console itself. But how cool to look at finding the name Allen Bradley, see what else they have, and go from there. The next part I want to talk about is the pieces on the helm, which were these. Now, I thought at the time when I first bought these that these were really close. They had the red tops, they had all the basic feel and look to them, and I was happy with them. I bought a ton of them, including other colors because that's how I had to buy them at the time, and I was satisfied. Until I was doing the video talking about the Helm panel, realizing that these weren't as close as I wished they were. Because of those high-res images. So because of that, I did see a few details that were really interesting that stood out to me, like the fact that the cap, the colored cap on top looked like it was a separate piece, and the pointer aspect of it was like a square block. So I did some looking and tried to find them, and I found them. Unfortunately, I found them at Allied Electronics. They're, I'll put the link in the description, but they're really close. Actually, I think they're the right ones. The problem I had was that all they had at Allied Electric was gray, yellow, and blue. So I grabbed the blue ones, and like I said, these look identical to the ones that are used. They even fit in the same potentiometer that I have, which is great, and I think they're dead on. Now the cool thing is this blue cap pops off, and it just leaves black, including this little arrow pointer. So all I'll need to do is just paint, you know, the 12 of them red, and I should be okay with that. If I find red ones later, I'll either just swap out the red caps with the blue caps with the red caps, and just go from there, because I won't need to actually replace the full thing, or just pop them off and place them on, because they just pop right off. So I'm excited to have the exact model of these. You can tell that they're the same. I'm really happy and excited for it. It's just kind of frustrating that it's like, oh, I got the right ones. Nope. But now I got the right ones, just the wrong color. I'm okay with that. I may actually, I will see if I even like it just as blue, but I'll probably paint them red, which is totally cool. Interesting though to point out was having these high-res images, especially again from Nick Verbato, who posted a bunch of behind the scenes, or not really behind the scenes, he was posting pictures of his sonic screwdriver on the set, which was really cool, was that because of those pictures, you could see what they, you know, some details. One thing that was really interesting was the most top left knob. Looks like they lost it, and they replaced it with one of the other types of knobs that I've seen elsewhere in the console, and they just painted the top red. I find that super cool, super interesting, and kind of funny, but I thought I'd share that with you guys just because it shows. You probably never noticed. I never noticed. Now I can't not see it in some of the photos that I have, but it's pretty funny, and I think that that's prop fixing 101. There is a couple knobs throughout the entire build that are just missing or changed or swapped or just like I said, just gone. So it does happen. Apparently they break it or move pieces, but I thought it was funny that they painted that on there. But yeah, there's that piece. I'm excited to include that into my build. I talked about these rotary thumb wheels that I got. And I was really happy because I got them with dual numbers, so I can have the same amount of numbers, but have them be smaller. And I was really happy with these, again, until doing the video for it. And I started looking at it close up going, oh, I missed a crucial detail. Now, the crucial detail is literally time. Because this product has been through multiple iterations throughout its entire course, they've updated, changed it, made it better for its actual intended use. However, that means if a vintage piece was used in a build or a prop, finding that same era is going to be what you're going to need to do. And that's what happened. Is I noticed that this piece, as close as it is, as good as it is that it's missing bevels around the edge here. It's got a bevel, but it's more of a rounded slope. So that meant I had to look for a more accurate one if I wanted to. But also to kind of understand what happened. So I did find some, which looks like this. And I'm gonna show the close up here. Right away, you'll be able to see that it is more accurate to the actual build. The holes are in the right spots, the color is right, the bevel is correct, the numbers are the right size, stuff like that. This piece that you're looking at does have, I think, 7 numbers across, which does have to be shortened in, but there's some posts inside that I'll have to actually physically shorten with a Dremel or something in order to get it to be the correct 4 or 5 numbers at this point. Because I did measure this is narrower than these. So these pieces here are wider than these ones, each individual thumb wheel piece, which means I might actually be able to get 5 numbers comfortably still. So I may do that. Now, I'm really stoked by this piece. I'm really happy with it. It will come apart just easily. Like I said, I took it all apart to make sure I could actually do what I wanted to do with it. And I'm really happy with it. I got enough to make the 2, but I didn't look at the description well enough. Not that it would have mattered because I still needed to get this beveled look, is that these only go to 7. They go 0 to 7, which is frustrating because how do you do 1992? 1999, you can't do that either. It's kind of frustrating. So what I've done is I did find a similar, not the same vintage because I couldn't find the correct vintage of the style with the numbers. I did find a 0 through 9 rotary thumb wheel pieces that look like they're about the same size and style as this. So they haven't really changed the interiors too much, especially because the numbers, like I mentioned, these numbers are smaller than these ones. So I couldn't just transpose these into here because then the numbers would be off. But I did find one that looked like it was pretty close to the same number size and went from 0 to 9. So hopefully when those come in, I will do some surgery and see if I can replace them, and hopefully I can. And then that would make me super happy. And then these will be much more super accurate than I was gonna have in the first place. And I know it sounds silly because these details, and you're like, well, what difference does it make? It's still the same thing. It still does the same work. But just having a piece that's a little more accurate makes me a little happier, but also I wouldn't be able to never not see the bevel after going through this process. So, and it didn't cost that much. I mean, the pieces to replace cost like 20 bucks. These cost a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it's what you like. For people who aren't as concerned, these are gonna be great. Again, because of what I've discussed in the past, is I will be reselling these. These are still brand new and fully functional. I've done nothing to them except hang on to them. So they'll be put up for sale again, whether to someone who's building or whether just someone who actually needs these kinds of things. So hopefully that works out in the end. But again, looking at these pictures while I'm editing, nuts, right? Because it's like, I need to find these things. So now, the last piece I wanted to quickly show is a knob that I've been trying to track down for a long time. And again, it wasn't until I was really looking again at these high-res images, or at least closer up images, that I was able to see some more details. And that's mainly the ones that are on top of the sliders and the mechanical panel. Now, these ones, I've got several different ones to be these ones, and I've checked sizes, and I keep goofing up. I'd get gray ones that were too small or black ones that weren't quite the right size. And I could never quite find the look I was looking for until now. And that is these guys. These, I'm pretty sure, are the exact ones. Now, a couple details to point out right away is that one new detail I noticed was that they all have a little pointer on it. I didn't notice that my first time looking at through all the images. These ones have it because I searched it down. It is actually kind of removable, which is neat. Now, these ones are from China. They're brand new. I got enough for a couple sets just in case. It was really interesting trying to find these, and I had to make an order that would actually work out to get them. And I'm really happy that they came in. They go together a little bit different. I don't know what the base is that they go on still, that you're seeing in these photos, but hey, it's still gonna work out. Whether I have to make that piece or not, I'm okay with that. Finding these is just such a relief because everything's been so small and tiny. Now, I did grab a smaller version as well in case these are the wrong size, but I think these are too small. And that's just basing it on the slider. And the sliders look like, when you look at proportionally at an angle, they look like they're the right size ratio. So I think these are them. I think the ones that they use on the actual build were either vintage or taken off of something, but I think that these are the right ones. And you can tell from this picture I'm gonna show here that when Nick was originally building this, they were gray, and then they were like dirtied up and beat up and making it look older. So I will be doing that to these, and I'm looking forward to that. Especially, I'm looking forward to weathering the whole thing. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So there you go, there are my updates currently. I will have more part updates coming up, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some of those pieces. Some pieces that are coming, I still don't understand or know what they are directly, just that they are the exact parts. So I'm looking forward to showing those to you. And yeah, it's gonna be really cool. I'm also looking forward to starting to craft and make the things that I cannot find or identify or are too expensive for me to get, like the train brakes, the Wessington power levers. Occasionally they do show up on eBay, but they're way more than I can afford. But I have found a metal fabrication place that I'll be able to make them out of metal, and I'm looking forward to doing that because I think it would just add a feel of tactile touch to be metal to it. But we'll see. Obviously, like I mentioned before with all my metal stuff, is I'm probably going to make a 3D model, print it, see how it looks, then go from there. But I'm looking forward to working on that, and I will share that as we go, as we get towards more and more nice weather where we can actually start CNC cutting and making the Tardis console. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It's exciting to talk about these parts, and it's exciting to find things, and doing these videos has actually motivated me to look harder and more fervently for things, and I'm hoping that this helps you guys who are making your own consoles, but also for those of you who are just really interested in seeing this entire detective scavenger hunt for the perfect Tardis console bits. I hope it's been entertaining for you guys. Anyway guys, thank you for liking, subscribing, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. Thanks for watching.